what is the customer life cycle? And this also pertains to kind of, I had a question I was going to do last week was how do you, the customer retention, how can you kind of understand what a customer is going through? And we can kind of use the example of kind of a tint shop, whether it's somebody comes in for one item and then you might offer, they come in for window tint in the summer and you could send them an email blast or something in the fall, like make sure to protect your vehicle in the winter, whether it's if you live up north with salt and whatnot, and you can kind of try to bring people back in. How can you, what is that kind of customer life cycle and how can we pull it in with marketing?
Well, I think the first thing is, we always want to bring in new customers. It's always, people always want to like say, hey, how do I get more customers? And what a lot of times people miss is the business that's right underneath their nose with people they're already doing business with. Whether that's potentially selling the existing customers they have an additional service while they're coming in to get something done, or adding on to the current service that they're offering, or potentially having them come back for additional services, or doing things that cause existing happy customers to tell more people about your business. So I think you need to look at every customer as you say customer life cycle. I like to look at it like, how can you treat your customers such that they become lifetime customers, so that they come back to you time and time again, or are willing, because they're so happy with what you've done, to tell their neighbor, tell their sister, tell their coworker, whatever, about your service. So the first thing is you have to hit the ball out of the park with the existing service you're working on them for. If they're not happy with that, you're dead in the water. The next thing is making sure they're aware of all the other things that you do. I'm amazed, because we work with a lot of people in the window film industry, how many of them have an automotive division and a residential commercial division, but they don't do anything to tell either side about the other side. So people are, 8 cars a day are coming through their shop, but they're not leaving them a trifold or anything like that to tell them, hey, we also tint homes. So if you have a glare problem at home, we can help you out at home as well, or your commercial building or whatever. Likewise, they do somebody's home and they don't make them aware that, hey, we also do cars, or they go into a commercial job to do decorative window film for privacy, frosted film, but don't talk to them or let them know, hey, we also do solar control film that can help prevent heat and glare and things like that. So I think you have to approach every situation like not being pushy about it, but make them aware of the other things that you offer, so they can't say no to something if they don't even know, or I should say they can't say yes to something if they don't even know you offer it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean you have to be pushy. Just make them aware. It could be as simple as a rear view mirror hang tag that tells them care instructions on one side for their automotive window tint, and then the other side, it talks about the residential and commercial products you offer. Now you have one piece of collateral that you're hanging up there that tells them this is how this is what you should expect the next couple of days and how to take care of the window film, but also exposes them to the fact that you do other things. Maybe even has a tear-off section that they could give to a friend to get 10 or 15% off their next service or something with you. My point is, look at every customer as a potential lifetime customer and what you can do to continue keeping that revenue flowing, and not in a way that you're trying to take advantage of somebody, but in a way you're actually providing a service that's valuable to them or somebody else that they know. And again, I think too many people focus on the transaction they're working on right then and not what they can do to expand that transaction. I apologize. I'm getting carried away on long answers here.
You took the word I was just about to say about stop worrying about. Even if you're a small business, I think sometimes you might, at least for me, when it was like, okay, I finally got a client, granted, for a lot of small businesses, that transaction might be somewhat of a high, and it's like, yes, we got the sale, and kind of move, and then you kind of move on to the next one. When, just like you said, yes, you should be concerned about that transaction, but it's focus on the relationship. Ask them what questions that might work with, that could pop the idea in their head of like, oh, I could also use this. And I saw it with a lot of different window tint shops that were kind of or businesses that were automotive that were starting to come over to window tint, whether it was a car wash. And it's those questions like, what else could we offer you that we might be within the realm of reason for us? And even if it's something that you don't offer, that gives you an idea that if you do ask that same question to 10, 15, 60 different customers, and you kind of keep getting that same response back, like we could use this, then it might be something to consider pulling in. I worked with a fertilizer company when I was off doing different things, and they started doing vent cleanings and carpet cleanings, and it was all stuff like, how can we help you? Because if there's something that we're doing seasonally, how can we kind of bring you back in later on? This kind of goes with a lot of different with the life cycle.
If you, again, I preface it by saying you got to knock the ball out of the park with the first transaction. But if you do, you've already crossed that threshold with that customer. They've already had a good experience with you, which means they're that much more likely to trust you with a future transaction, because they've already had a good, or refer you to somebody because they had a good transaction. I have an auto mechanic here in the city that I live in, and I love to give his name out. I mean, he does such a great job. If anything, when I pick my car up, I typically am negatively sticker shocked by how fair he was with me on the price. And when anybody ever asks where to take their car, I can't wait to give his name out. I mean, because he's just instilled such a great feeling in me about doing business with him that, like, literally, I literally leap at the chance to give his name out to people. And think about that. If you can, and I probably in the last couple of years have only done maybe 5 or 6 transactions with him. But my point is, hopefully, I know several of my neighbors use him now, and that him treating me right on the first transaction led to 3, 4, 5 more transactions with me, an untold number of transactions with people I tell about him.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's definitely, I have the same thing. There's a couple of mechanics I enjoy going to.